Good day everyone, I'm Regina Lapis, a third-year BEST IT student major in Information Security at University of Southeastern Philippines, where we build dreams without limits. Welcome to our tutorial video compilation for system administration. In this session, we will walk through the installation and setting up of a network operating system. But first, what is a NOS? A NOS is a specialized software designed to manage network resources efficiently, and it enables servers to handle user management, file sharing, security controls, and communication protocols, all essential in building a stable IT infrastructure. For this hands-on activity, we'll be setting up a server that provides one core services, which is the Before we install our network operating system, we need a VirtualBox, a virtualization tool that allows us to run an operating system inside on our existing system efficiently. First, to download a VirtualBox, open your browser and type virtualbox.org. On the homepage, locate and click the download button. Once on the download page, you'll see multiple package options based on your operating system. Since I am using Windows, I'll download the Windows host version. If you're using Mac OS or Linux, select the appropriate version for your system. But be careful when selecting the package as the version displayed is 7.1.0. If you want a different version, scroll down and click VirtualBox Previous Releases to see older versions. In my case, I want to download the 7.1.6, so I scroll down and select that version. When you click on Windows Host, your browser will prompt you to choose a directory for saving the file. Pick a location where you can easily find it later. But since I've already downloaded it earlier, I won't download it again in this tutorial. But make sure you save it in an easily accessible folder. After downloading VirtualBox, you also need to download VirtualBox Guest Editions. Just scroll down slightly on the same page and you'll find the download link. This package is essential as it enhances the performance of our virtual machine. It enables full screen solution, improves graphics, and prevents glitches when interacting with the virtual system. Guest editions provide features like seamless mode, clipboard sharing, and drag and drop functionality. So we'll download guest editions just like we did the VirtualBox. Since we selected VirtualBox 7.1.0, we will download the same version of guest editions. Avoid beta versions as they may be unstable. Click on the corresponding link, scroll down, find VBox Guest Edition 7.1.0 and download it. Again, I already downloaded this earlier, so I won't re-download it. Make sure you save it in a file folder where you can easily access it. Next, we need to download the ISO image of the operating system we will use in our virtual machine. In this case, we're using LinuxMint. Just visit the official LinuxMint website and click the download button, which is available on the homepage. You can also read through the installation guide available on the website. LinuxMint offers 3 editions: Cinnamon, XFCE, and Mate. For this project, we will use LinuxMint Cinnamon since it is the most popular and provides a modern, user-friendly interface. While LinuxMint Cinnamon is primarily a desktop OS, it is not specifically designed as a network operating system. However, for the sake of this project, we're using it as our NOS. So you just scroll down to find a list of mirror links for downloading the ISO. Choose any mirror that works best for your location, but in my case, I downloaded from the Fort Mirror, which is from Canada. Click the mirror link and save the ISO image in a directory you can easily access. Again, since I have already downloaded it earlier, I won't download it again, but make sure to save it in an accessible folder. Now, we need to install VirtualBox. So you'll just open the downloaded file and proceed with the installation. Once installed, open Oracle VirtualBox. So, click New to create a new virtual machine and fill in the following details: the name, machine folder, type, and version. So, for the name, you put LinuxMint, and the machine folder, choose where to store the VM and type Linux and version Ubuntu. VirtualBox will automatically detect the correct settings once you type LinuxMint and click Next to continue. Resources. For the memory RAM, set it to 4 GB or 4096 MB for better performance. And for the processor, allocate 4 CPU cores for smoother operation. And for the virtual hard disk, create a new virtual hard disk where LinuxMint will be installed. Click Next and then Finish. So for the configuration of the virtual machine settings, before starting the virtual machine, we need to adjust some settings. You go to General, click Advanced, Set, Shared Clipboard, and drag and drop to bidirectional. Go to System, Processor, ensure 4 CPU cores are allocated, and next go to Display, Video Memory, and set to maximum for better graphics performance, and last for the storage, and click Controller. Click the empty disk image placeholder and select the LinuxMint ISO file you downloaded earlier and click Open to mount it. Once done, click OK to save the settings. So, we will now proceed to the installation of the LinuxMint in VirtualBox. Select your virtual machine and click Start, and a VirtualBox notification center may appear, but you can close it. Click Capture and use the arrow keys to navigate. Select Start LinuxMint and press Enter. And now, launching the LinuxMint installer. Once the LinuxMint desktop loads, double-click Install LinuxMint and the installation wizard will open it. So, the installation steps: once it is already open, select the language, choose your preferred language and click Continue. And for the keyboard layout, leave it as default and click Continue. And for the multimedia codecs, check the box to install multimedia codecs, so it is optional, and click Continue. And installation type, choose Erase Disk and install LinuxMint, and so this is only affects the virtual machine, not your actual system. After that, you can click Install Now, then Continue when prompted. Next, setting up location and user information. Select the time zone, choose your location. So in my side, I am at Manila, and click Continue. So first is the setting the administrator information. After installation, you will be asked to set up user details. Your name, this can be your personal name, the administrator name, or your company's name. But for this tutorial, I'll use XYZ company as the name. Next is the computer's name. You can name it the same as your organization or just leave it as default. But in my case, I will set it to XYZ company. Third is the username. This will be used to log in, and I'll set it to administrator. Fourth, password. Choose a strong password for security, and for this tutorial, I'll use admin123. And fifth is the login options. You can choose to log in automatically, so you don't need to enter a password every time. However, this is not advisable for security reasons because unauthorized users could access your system. Instead, I'll select Require my password to log in. And lastly, encrypt my home folder. This is optional, but if you enable this, your files will be encrypted for extra security. However, I'll leave this unchecked for now. And for recap, name is administrator, computer name XYZ company, username administrator, and password admin123. Login option, require password to log in and encryption disabled. After setting everything up, click continue to proceed. And now, LinuxMint will install the necessary files. This process will take a few minutes, so just wait for it to finish. Once the installation is done, you'll see this message. The installation is finished. You can continue testing LinuxMint now, but until you restart the computer, the changes you made will not be preserved. Click Restart now to finalize the installation. After restarting, you will see this prompt. Please remove the installation medium, then press enter. This means we need to remove the ISO file we mounted earlier. So first, open VirtualBox Manager. Second, go to Settings and find Storage. Look for the ISO image under Controller IDE. If the system hasn't automatically removed it, select it and click Remove. And most of the time, VirtualBox will automatically eject the ISO file, so all you need to do is press enter and continue. Now, the system will reboot and you will see the computer's name, which is XYZ company, and the username, which is administrator. Enter your password and you're now successfully logged in. Once logged in, a welcome to LinuxMint dialog box will appear. This window provides documentation which you can learn more about LinuxMint and first steps guide on setting up your system, help and support, links, community, forums, and resources, and contribute, ways to support LinuxMint development. For now, let's close this window and continue setting up the system. Before we set up the mail server, we need to install VirtualBox Guest Editions to improve the performance of our virtual machine. So, why we install Guest Editions? It allows resizing the VM window freely without distortion, improve graphics and system performance. It enables seamless mouse and keyboard integration. And now, how to install VirtualBox Guest Editions? At the top of the menu bar, click Devices and select Insert Guest Editions CD image. And a prompt will appear. This medium contains software intended to be automatically started. Would you like to run it? And click Run. Enter administrator password and press enter. Wait for the installation to complete. And once installation is done, close the virtual machine, go to VirtualBox Manager, find Settings, and find Storage. Click Remove Attachment for the Guest Edition ISO, then click OK. Now, after restarting the VM, you can now resize the window freely without quality loss, enjoy smoother performance with better graphic support, and without the guest editions, the screen might not adjust properly to the window size, making the experience less smooth. Now that we have it installed, everything should work seamlessly. So now, we'll proceed to user management in LinuxMint by user account creation and common tasks. So, user management in LinuxMint is an essential part of system administration, ensuring that users have the necessary access while maintaining security. This tutorial covers two main parts. First is the user account creation, which is setting up user accounts for different roles in our organization. And second is the common user management task, which is managing existing user accounts efficiently. So, we will talk about the context in business scenario. To demonstrate user management effectively, let's consider a business company with two departments. First is the marketing department, which had a manager and two team members. second is sales department, which has also a manager and one assistant. And now, user creation in LinuxMint. To create user account for these employees, we must follow this step. First step is open the terminal, and there are two ways to manage users. Using the terminal or the command line interface, preferred for advanced user, or second, using GUI or graphical user interface. This is for users who prefer a visual approach. But for this tutorial, we'll use the terminal. Switch to root privileges. Before creating users, switch to the root or the administrator level, which we will use the command line sudo -1. Enter the administrator password when prompted. And next, create the user accounts. To create the user, use the user add command. For example, which you will type user add -m -s -bin -bash Joshua. Step 2. Switch to root privileges. Before creating users, switch the root administrator level, which will type the command sudo -1. Enter the administrator password when prompted. Step 3. Create user accounts. To create the user, use the user add command by typing user add -m -s -bin -bash and the user account name. -m creates a home directory for the user, and -s -m creates a home directory for the user, and -s -bin -bash assigns the bash shell as the default interface. Repeat this step for the other users. And step 4. Set the user passwords. Each account needs a password. Use the passwd command and enter a password. Repeat for other users, and we'll now proceed to the add user information. Adding details like full names and roles helps identify users in the system. Use the user mod command by typing user mod -c Joshua, sample marketing team member, and Joshua, and do it again for the other users too. Next, verify user creation. To check if the user exists, use cat-etc-passwd or password and grep Joshua. This will display user information. Next, we will access the user accounts via SSH. SSH or Secure Shell allows remote login and management. By default, SSH is not enabled in LinuxMint, so we need to install it. So, step 1, check if SSH is installed. Run systemcity1 status SSH. If SSH is not found, install it. Step 2, install and enable SSH. You must type the command sudo apt update or sudo apt install, open SSH -server -y, sudo system st1 start SSH, and sudo system st1 enable SSH. After installation, check again and use this command systemcity1 status SSH. If active, SSH is running. Step 3, find the system IP address. To connect via SSH, get the IP address. Type the command IP address and look for the inet value under the active network interface. Step 4, user accounts via SSH. To log in as the user, use SSH username, and IP address. When prompted, enter the password of the user account. Repeat for other users too. Step 5. Handling home directory issues. If an error appears could not change directory to home Joshua, no such file or directory, it means the home directory wasn't created properly. To fix this, manually create it by typing the command mkdir home and the username John Joshua, Joshua home, Joshua. Repeat for other users too. So for the next tutorial, we will talk about common user management. We will be presented by my other groupmate. So that's all by my side, and thank you.
So hello everyone, hello viewers. In this part, I'll be demonstrating the common user management tasks that an administrator does before setting up the system as a server. So in the case of our project, a mail server. So by the way, I am Josh Ikalina, and without further ado, let's get this started. So in general, most of the user or host user management tasks are related to security, especially with regards to data access and permission regulation. In this demo, I'll be showing you how to create directories and set these directories as the home directories for each respective users. So I'll also discuss and demonstrate how a group creation is done, and also adding users to these groups along with changing the primary group for each of them, changing ownership of directories, and restricting these directories will also be tackled in this part. So in addition, common user management tasks of adding or locking or unlocking accounts, aka activation and deactivation of user accounts, as well as setting up expiration periods on user accounts will also be demonstrated. So to put these tasks into context, let me continue to use our example, the XYZ company. In the previous part of this video, XYZ company has two departments, so the marketing and sales departments. Each department has one manager, just a recap, and some team or department members are also added for each department. So I want to add another department in this company, and I want to call this the research and development department or division. So this group also has one lead employee, and I call him the research director. Let me name him Ariel. So also he has companions, his co-researchers, Nancy and Randy. So the first thing I'll do is to create an account for each new user, or for each of the researchers. We learned earlier in this tutorial how to do that, so let me add them just quickly as I can. So just a quick look of what I did in creating new user accounts. Let me see the password file. .etc. So here we see I have successfully created the user accounts with all the necessary information for each of them. So Ariel, I created Ariel as the Ariel Ang as the research and development director, and Nancy Nang as his co-researcher, and Randy Ru as a co-researcher. So now let's get on to the other user management tasks aside from user creation. Of course, one of them is, of course, let me clear that first, creating directories for each account. So basically, a directory is a particular type of file in a file system that stores references to other files and directories. So in graphical operating systems like LinuxMint, of course, they are what we know as the folders for the folders of the file system. So each user must have a directory called a home directory as they are created. These home directories act as the user's personal workspace where his or her files, other folders, and system settings are stored. So without a home directory, there is no way a user can have personal file storage. So how can we create a directory for a user in LinuxMint? It's actually just simple. You just enter into the root account, sudo I, and type the command make dir and mkdir rather space the directory to which you want this new directory to be saved. Let's say, for example, or the name of directory rather. So mkdir space the path of the directory and then the name of the directory. Let's create a directory for Ariel. That's it, and let's just enter that. So we can decide where we want to save this directory. So as I've decided, I want this directory to be saved in this folder, the home folder. Yes. So for me to have an easy user management, so we put all user home directory into one place. So to check if the directory is created, let's type and enter the command, actually ls space ls is the command. This command lists down a list of files or directories within a directory. So ls space the directory you want to list what is in there. So let's type home. In my case, the file system / home directory. So here we see that the Ariel directory is created. We can also check the created directory in the file manager here in the right side of my panel of the screen rather. So we can check them by going to the file system and then click this home folder. So here it is. The directory is created. So we can also create directories here, for example, with root privileges. So we don't have root privilege yet, so we open as root. I'm right clicking on the mouse, click this open as root, and let's just type the password for the admin. So now we see something like this. It opens a new window for the file manager, and it has a note or a notification, a notice saying elevated privileges. So now we can, as an administrator, we can now create folders here. So we can try to create folder for example, Nancy, and let's try to check it here in the terminal. So that's how it is done. So let me continue to create these directories for other users, so for other user accounts. So let me just do this quick. So now, just a quick check on what I did. So I created a directory with names respective to each user account here. So one for Joyan, one for Ariel, for Cheryl, Joshua, for Leah, Nancy, Randy, and Regine. So however, these directories are not set as a home directory for the user yet. So how do we know that? So as I've said earlier, without the home directory, a user can't have a personal storage for his or her files and folders. So when a user tries to create a file, they were not able to do so because they don't have a directory or a personal workspace for their newly created file. So let's try for that. Let's try to open a new window for a terminal and log in as one of the users. Let's say Joyan, the marketing manager. SSH Joyan. Okay. Let me open my on-screen keyboard. XYZ company. So, yes, just type yes. So, and password. So, let's try to create a file. Touch file1, the text. Oh, permission denied. I think automatically it was set. Password. Let's check on the password file. Joyan. Here. Oh, I see. So as we created actually the user with the user add command, it also adds an intended path to the home directory, which is this, the same as this. So we didn't intend to create Joyan just to know that it is actually set already as the home directory. So if this is something like another one, let's say for example, let's just edit that. Let's change the directory for Joyan, for example. This is how I change the directory. New Joyan. So actually this is the code for setting a home directory to a user. We make sure that these directory are already created or existing in our file system. But in this case, I am doing something that I'm adding a home directory. I'm setting a home directory for the user Joyan with a directory that doesn't yet exist. Let's say for example that. So okay, we cannot process the command because the user account is being used in another terminal. So let's just close this or log out and let's try again. Oh, it's not working. Let's try to close it instead. So that's it. Let's open again the terminal and log in. Sorry, I have to use this on-screen keyboard because my my @ key is not working on my keyboard. So just bear with me on that. Join 1, 2, 3. So we see here now we have already set a home directory to join, a new home directory. And as we try to log in, it says here that could not chdir. This means change directory to home directory this, because there's no such file or directory for that, um, for this directory. So when we try to check that on the password file, listing the user files of the system or user configuration, we see here that Joyan has changed the path for her directory. So now we cannot create files actually. Let's say for example, new file.txt. It's permission denied. It's because in the first place that this is not the home directory for Joyan, and it says permission denied, but actually it doesn't exist. So how do we change that? So first, of course, let's make sure that directories are created, which we have already done here in our file system. So to do that, again, let's type usermod, or if you're outside this root account, let's say for example exit, we can type, if we are in the administrator account, sudo usermod space -d. This command meaning we are entering the user mode, and we are modifying something like the directory, and the symbol for directory, or the option key for changing directories or manipulating directories, is D. So space, let's assign the home Joyan directory, this Joyan's directory, which is the path is home. We go in the file system, home, then Joyan. Let's type that here in the terminal, Joyan, and space, assign that to the user we intend it to be assigned. So this is the command, sudo usermod dash d slash home slash Joyan space, the name of the user who is Joyan. Let's just enter that, and okay, again we have to close this to process that command. So enter that again, and okay, it's seemingly loading in the background. Again, let's enter. So that was successful. Let's just check with the password etc etc password file. So let's see here. Done. The home directory for Joyan now is set to this directory. So every time Joyan tries to create a file or a directory, it is now created in this directory. So let's try. Let's enter as Joyan. Again, I'm opening my screen keyboard. Let me just copy this so that I can just paste it later when I needed to use it. When I need to use it. So SSH Joyan, type the Joyan password. So now we can now create a file that should be stored in Joyan's directory, which is the directory with her name. Let's try. So to create a file, there are many ways to create a file, and one of these is typing the command touch and then the name of the file. Let's say new file joyan.txt. Oh, there is a problem here. So although we have already set the directory, the home directory to Joyan, to the user Joyan, we cannot create or add files within that directory because it says it's permission denied. So how do we do that? So actually, as I've said, without the home directory, a person can a user can't have personal storage for his or her files and folders, but um, setting the home directory for a user doesn't mean their account owns the directory. And in that case, we need to change the ownership of the directory so that the access is permitted when we try to create or transfer files into that directory. So how do we do that? How do we change the ownership of the directory? Let's just type sudo chown or chown and space the name of the user, the username we wanted to own a directory. Let's say Joyan, and type the directory we want her to own, which is this, and let's just enter that command and done. Let's see, let's check. Let's check. Now we can create already a file, or let's try a folder. Make directory space new folder. Now we can create files and folders within the directory of Joyan because now she owns already the directory. So how do we check here if who owns the directory for each directory being created? Let's just type or list these directories by typing ls space. Earlier we used this command, but now let's add an option -l. This means that we wanted to display the long format of the files, which includes this actually. It includes the permission of this directory. Here, these numbers here are hard links, which I will not discuss here. This part is the owner, the user owner of the directory, and this is the group owner of the directory. We will learn more about that later. And this is the size of the directory and the recent the date on the recent modification of this directory, and this is the name of the directory. So far, let's go to the file system and check our directories. These list now the directories we have in our file system for each user. So this is how we see who owns the directories and what group owns the directories. So now let's change the directories. Let me change the ownership for each directory respective to the user. So let me do that. That's how it's done. We have now changed the ownership for each user directories with directories we have created. Now user Ariel now owns the Ariel directory, and as well as Cheryl for Cheryl, Joyan for Joyan, Joshua, and the rest. So that's how it's done. So let me add that as a system administrator, among the primary points we need to consider in managing user accounts are security and access control, of course. So without the standard policy or procedure on how data flows and accessed, how data flows and access to this data in an organization happens, issues regarding data privacy and security might arise. So we need to determine and implement security on who will access which and who will access what. In the context of system administration, there are a number of methods we can employ to enhance the security of the system, especially among users. So in LinuxMint, there is a concept called user groups. So this concept covers how permissions are managed, as well as controlling access among multiple users. So groups allow users to share access to files, directories, and system resources without assigning permissions individually, which is somehow impractical. So that means that instead of employing restrictions or permissions on individual user accounts, which I think obviously impractical in large organizations, especially in large size organizations, we implement the concept of user groups. So how is it done in LinuxMint? First, of course, actually, is to determine what groups to be created and how access to data happens between them. So let's just focus first on determining the groups we will create. So using our imaginary company, the, of course, XYZ company, we can create a group in our Linux Mint system for each department. So let's say marketing group, marketing group for the marketing department, sales group for sales department, and research group for the R&D department. So to add a group, let's just type and enter group add space the name of the group. So marketing for the marketing department. So permission denied, cannot lock, etc. Try again. Again, I forgot to type the sudo command. I was used more on entering into the root account so that I could use without entering the sudo command. So let me just enter into the root account, so I would not need to type the sudo again. So again, just type group add space marketing and enter that, and sales, and group add research for research for the R&D department research. So how do we check that? Let's check that through this file, which is found in the file system in the etc directory, and let's look for the group file here. Group. Let's wait on it. So here we have created the groups for marketing, sales, and research departments. So now let's add the respective users to each group they belong to. But let me also share that there are three major types of user groups in Linux Mint. So the primary group, the secondary or supplementary group, and the system groups. So the primary group is the default group assigned to a user. When a user creates a file, it belongs to both his or her account and to the primary group assigned to them. So by default, anyone who is also in this group will have access to everything that's in there unless permission is denied. So how do we check if a user how do we check what primary group a user belongs to? So let's try the command to do that, to know that, is to display the information about that, is id space the name of the user. Let's try Joyan. So we see here three information: the user ID, which is 1001, and the GID, which is the group ID. This is actually the primary group this user belongs to, and as for now, it belongs to Joyan. So why Joyan? We did not yet assign a primary group to Joyan, to the user Joyan. So by default, as we created the user using user add command, it also creates a group named with the same named with the username, and assign that group as the primary group of the user. So that's how it's done. We can see that in the file we have opened earlier, the group So each user we created, it also created a group with the same name as their username. So generally it also has the same ID with their user ID. So the next part of the details here is the groups. So this part lists the group where the user currently enjoined. So that's it. So this is called the supplementary group. So the supplementary or secondary group is used for granting additional privileges or access to files and directories created with that group. So basically, the primary group is also under the set of, or within the set of, the supplementary groups. So another type of groups LinuxMint have is the system groups, which are predefined groups for system services. We can check that here in the group folder, the group file. So these are the existing groups in the system, which is found in the etc directory here. And let's just look for the name or the file group. So here list all the groups the system have. So it has, I don't know how many groups are in the system now. So I am in the line 91, the last line in the file. So that's line 91. So I think the system has currently 91 groups, which includes system groups, as I've said earlier, like root, daemon, bin, etc. So that's it. Now let me assign each user to their respective groups. So how do we do that? We do that by typing usermod space dash ag space the name of the group we want the user to be added, and space the name of the user or username. So let me just break this down. So usermod is the command to enter the user mode, and this thing is actually the command to add a user to a supplementary group. So for now, let me just add these users to the supplementary group. To add these users to, for example, Joyan. I want to add Joyan to the marketing group as his or her supplementary group, not the primary group. And let me I'll explain about primary group later. So for now, let's just do this. And if you check that here, so here in the groups list, the group marketing is added to Joyan. So everything that is every file or directory that is created with the marketing group, now Joyan has access depending on the defined access for that group. So let me add other users to their respective groups. So I have already added the users to their respective groups, and to check that, let's type and enter the command grep space. Grep is a command for looking for specific entries in a file, and within this is the keyword we want to look for, and the directory of the file we want to look into. This should be the group file. So let's check on that. So we see here now that the users Joyan, Cheryl, and Leia is part of the marketing group, as well as oh sorry. Sales. Joshua and Regine is in the sales group, and also in the research group, Ariel and Nancy and Randy belongs to that group. So we can also check this in the group file itself. Actually, it's company. We can create a group in our LinuxMint system for each department. So let's say marketing group, marketing group for the marketing department, sales group for sales department, and research group for the R&D department. So to add a group, let's just type and enter group add space the name of the group. So marketing for the marketing department. So permission denied, cannot lock, etc. Try again. Again, I forgot to type the sudo command. I was used more on entering into the root account so that I could use without entering the sudo command. So let me just enter into the root account, so I would not need to type the sudo again. So again, just type group add space marketing and enter that, and sales, and group add research for research for the R&D department research. So how do we check that? Let's check that through this file, which is found in the file system in the etc directory, and let's look for the group file here. Group. Let's wait on it. So here we have created the groups for marketing, sales, and research departments. So now let's add the respective users to each group they belong to. But let me also share that there are three major types of user groups in LinuxMint. So the primary group, the secondary or supplementary group, and the system groups. So the primary group is the default group assigned to a user. When a user creates a file, it belongs to both his or her account and to the primary group assigned to them. So by default, anyone who is also in this group will have access to everything that's in there unless permission is denied. So how do we check if a user how do we check what primary group a user belongs to? So let's try the command to do that, to know that, is to display the information about that, is id space the name of the user. Let's try Joyan. So we see here three information: the user ID, which is 1001, and the GID, which is the group ID. This is actually the primary group this user belongs to, and as for now, it belongs to Joyan. So why Joyan? We did not yet assign a primary group to Joyan, to the user Joyan. So by default, as we created the user using user add command, it also creates a group named with the same named with the username, and assign that group as the primary group of the user. So that's how it's done. We can see that in the file we have opened earlier, the group file here. So each user we created, it also created a group with the same name as their username. So generally it also has the same ID with their user ID. So the next part of the details here is the groups. So this part lists the group where the user currently enjoined. So that's it. So this is called the supplementary group. So the supplementary or secondary group is used for granting additional privileges or access to files and directories created with that group. So basically, the primary group is also under the set of, or within the set of the supplementary groups. So another type of groups LinuxMint have is the system groups, which are predefined groups for system services. We can check that here in the group folder, the group file. So these are the existing groups in the system, which is found in the etc directory here. And let's just look for the name or the file group. So here list all the groups the system have. So it has, I don't know how many groups are in the system now. So I am in the line 91, the last line in the file. So that's line 91. So I think the system has currently 91 groups, which includes system groups, as I've said earlier, like root, daemon, bin, etc. So that's it. Now let me assign each user to their respective groups. So how do we do that? We do that by typing usermod space dash ag space the name of the group we want the user to be added, and space the name of the user or username. So let me just break this down. So usermod is the command to enter the user mode, and this thing is actually the command to add a user to a supplementary group. So for now, let me just add these users to the supplementary group. To add these users to, for example, Joyan, I want to add Joyan to the marketing group as his or her supplementary group, not the primary group. And let me I'll explain about primary group later. So for now, let's just do this. And if we check that here, so here in the groups list, the group marketing is added to Joyan. So everything that is every file or directory that is created with the marketing group, now Joyan has access depending on the defined access for that group. So let me add other users to their respective groups. So I have already added the users to their respective groups, and to check that, let's type and enter the command grep space. Grep is a command for looking for specific entries in a file, and within this is the keyword we want to look for, and the directory of the file we want to look into. this should be the group file. So let's check on that. So we see here now that the users Joyan, Cheryl, and Leia is part of the marketing group, as well as oh sorry. Sales. Joshua and Regine is in the sales group, and also in the research group, Ariel and Nancy and Randy belongs to that group. So we can also check this in the group file itself. Actually, it's the same format with this. Let's open this. Yeah, right here. So now let me explain further about the primary group and how we can change them. So when a user creates a file or directory, the system assigns the user as the owner of that file, and along with that the system also assigns the group owner of the file or directory, which is based on the primary group the user is assigned to. So to show that, let me type ls space -l. So these are the files within the Joyan folder. Here. So we see here the details about the file. So the permission, the access permission, this is the owner and the group owner, the user owner and the group owner. So we see here this file is owned only by Joyan. I mean, only by the user Joyan and the group Joyan. So if anyone is in the group Joyan, he or she can access this file. If they are not in the group Joyan, they are not able to access this file. So how do we know if anyone can access this? To show that, let me open another terminal. And let's log in as user Leia, for example. Let me copy this. SSH Leia company. Oh, sorry, XYZ company. So let's try to access this file, new file join.txt. How do we do that? Let's touch home. So I am now entering also the directory of this file, which is home/joyan/ the name of the file, new file join.txt. So it says here permission denied because Leia is not in the group of Joyan. So check that here. Oh, sorry, ID Leia. So here Leia doesn't belong to the group Joyan. However, if we add Leia, ID Leia, if we add Leia to the group of Joyan, or to the Joyan group, AG Joyan, that's how it's done here. And let's check on that. Now Joyan is added into the Joyan. Leia is added into the Joyan group, and let's try to touch this file if we can do that. Still permission denied. Why? Let's check. Oh, I'm sorry, maybe we need to restart. New window. So I'm accessing the user Leia's account. XYZ company Leia 123, and let's access touch home slash join slash new file join the text. We still cannot touch it. Why? It's because, oh sorry, oh, so based on the permission given here, we don't have an execute a touch command. I mean a touch, sorry, I've entered a wrong directory path. It should be slash. Oh, see, we cannot touch it. Let's try to edit something in the file. So open it, let's open it and see what happens here. So let me try echo Leia is here within the file new file join new file join the text. So we reload the file. So now we are able now to write on the file, because as we see here here, anyone in the group has the read and write access. By the way, let me explain these permission parts. I mean permission format L home. So here is the permission information about a file or a directory. In this case, a file. Here is a directory. Same with this. So we see here D means that this is a directory, and if it's a file, it is just a dash or a minus symbol. The first three values here, RWX, is the user permission. So the user who is the user for this administrator directory is administrator, and so administrator has a read, write, and execute permission. The next part of this permission information is the permission for the group. Whoever is in the group has the read and execute access or permission, and this is for everyone else other than outside from the group or the user himself. So that's just it. So now let's get back on my topic. I mean on where I am now. Let's get back on my about the primary group. So now if we see here, we need to add a user to that group so that they're able to access any file or directory within that, which is any file or directory which was created with a group. So it would be impractical to let it stay like it, because we need to add everyone to it is not automatic. So every time we create a file, let's say for example a file from Joyan, it adds this directory, it adds this group, and not everyone is in the group Joyan. What if we want this file to be accessed by whoever is in the marketing group? So in order to do that, we have to change the primary group of the user Joyan, so that we don't need to individually do this configuration part. So to do that, let's just use the user mod space -g. Earlier we used AG because that's for adding a user to a supplementary group, but now to add or to change the primary group of a user, we use -g and space the group we wanted to assign to a user, and let's say Joyan. So let's check on that. So now, the primary group for Joyan is marketing already. So every time the Joyan creates a file, let's say for example here touch new file.txt, it is now with the marketing group. So here it is, new file.join. Oh, sorry, there's something wrong here. I need to close this yet so that it refreshes, so I'll be able to see anything from the sales department or the research department aside from this marketing. She only should be able to see only the files in the marketing department or in the marketing group. So let us try to see the Nancy's directory, which is or who is in the research department. Leia is in marketing, so she should not be able to do that. But now she is able. She can actually also see what's in there. So let's try to create a file here, for example. So let me try to create a file folder, Nancy folder 1. So she is able to, as of right now, Leia is able to see what's in this folder. So she sees this Nancy folder. So I wanted to disallow or disable Leia to see anything from others directories. So how? So simply, for example, with our first permission policy, let me just turn off all permissions aside from the user permission. Turn off all directory permissions so that I can be able to show you this effectively. So to do that, let me enable. So the command to change file or directory permission is chmod and space, just space. Let me see my notes. So space, the kind of permission we wanted to change. For example, there are 3 categories of permissions, as I've said earlier, as I've shown earlier: the user permission, the group permission, and then other permission or permission aside from the user and with the group. So I want to change the group permission. So G. So here it is. If you want to change the user permission, just type U. If you want to change the group permission, G, and O for other permission. So I want to change the group permission and type the plus command if we wanted to allow a permission, or to allow an access, and minus symbol if we don't want to allow an access. So the next thing is to type what access we wanted to allow or disallow. So R for read read access, W for read access, I for write access, and X for execute access. X means that a user can able to enter into that file or folder or program in that directory. So I want to turn off the read and execute and write access to all directories so far. So let's just do that, and then space the path of the directory we wanted to disallow access to. So I want to this directories to be disabled for now. So now I have already removed the access or turn off the access for group and others. So let us check that here. So now we see these dash lines already. So now in this case, in this state, only the users of the of these directories have the access permission. So if we try to for example, let's say access this connection to company is closed. So let's just enter again. Let's check. Let's check if Leia can access others directories. So cd home Joyan. So permission denied. Cheryl. Permission denied. She cannot even list what's in these directories. Permission denied. Cannot open directory. So I think that's working. So now let's implement our policies. So allow managers to read, write, execute in the members directories. So to do this, allow managers to read, write, execute in the members directories. By the way, I have seen something here. That each of these directories are owned not by the group we have added earlier. So I have changed only the user owner of these directories, but not the department or group they should belong to. So before we set the restrictions, let me do first changing the group owner for each of these directories. So we have used the chown command. So now earlier we just put the username, but now we also add the sorry, that's research, the group name, then directory Arial. So let me just do this so that we will not be able to encounter a problem later, or if there is, not that much. So let me do this. So now I have changed the group owner for each of the directories. So now let's proceed on changing the restrictions. So we want to allow each manager to read, write, and execute in the members directories. So let's start on the marketing department. So the manager for the marketing department is Joyan. So Joyan should be able to have an access here for Leia's directory and Cheryl's directory. So to do that, let's just change mod space g plus read, write, and execute for home slash Leia and Cheryl. So that's it. So in this case, Joyan is able to to access Leia's directory. Let us check that. Let us check that if that is working. So cd to home slash Leia. Good. cd to home slash Cheryl. Good. Let's try to list so that if it's working. So I think that's working. That's it is unless the system is failing in the background. So let's set up for other departments. So now let's change the access mode or the permissions in the sales department. So the in the sales department, the manager is Joshua. So Joshua should be able to read, write, and execute within Regine's directory. So as for now, Joshua cannot do that. Let's just try space XYZ company Joshua 123. So Alice home Regine. So he cannot do that. So let's change the directory permission rwx space Regine. Let's try that again. Now he is able to do so. That's working. Now let's proceed on the research department. So Ariel is the director of the research department. So Ariel should be able to read, write, and execute within Randy and Nancy's directories. So to do that, just type this command and then just that. So now let's check. Now all managers and directors are able to access the directories of their of other members in the respective department. So now the next permission would be to allow members a read-only access in the manager's directories and other members. So in this case, actually, let's say for example, in the marketing department, Leia and Cheryl are not able to read and write and execute within Joyan's directory. So let's try that. We have tried that earlier. So permission is denied, and that's just it. So how do we able to add a read-only access to Joyan's directory? So to do that, chmod space group, G for group plus R for read access and the directory for Joyan. So let's check on the list. Joyan's directory has now read access. Let's try that here. cd home Joyan. It's permission denied because cd is actually an execute command. So to try ls, because this is for read command. So now Leia is able to see what's in the folder or what's in the directory, whatever in the directory of Joyan. So but also we want a read-only access, to allow members a read-only access in other members. So Leia should not be able to see within Cheryl's folder, and vice versa. Cheryl should not be able to see, to write and execute on Leia's directories. As for now, with the permissions we have, Leia is able to write within Cheryl's directory. Let's try to touch a file or create a file home within Cheryl using Leia's account. Cheryl, Leia is here, that text. So this should not be done. This should not be allowed, because we wanted the read-only access for others' directories. So how to do that? there's no way we can do that or change the restrictions with just this command. So actually, Linux also provide the concept of the ACLs, or what we call as the access control list. So how do we do that? Set F ACL. So to allow specific restrictions or permissions in between users and directories and files and other things here in the Linux system, we implement an ACL, or an access control list. So to do that, we write the command set f ACL space M means that we are modifying an ACL, or an access control list, and then U for user, and then we want user Leia to not access Cheryl's directory. So to do that, let's just, normally this is the command to allow an access to a directory or file, space the directory. But we don't want Leia to have the read, write, and execute access on Cheryl's directory, but just read. So instead of writing this, we have to write the minus symbol, so minus minus or dash dash, and that's it. Leia should now be able to just read on Cheryl's directory. So let's do that. So now permission is denied. She cannot also cd to this directory. Permission denied, but she can see what's in the directory. Cheryl. Yes, that's it. Also, we want Cheryl to have the same access as Leia to Leia's directory. So to do that, just copy here and set it. Leia. So I think that would work. That will actually work. Now, let's also do the same directories or the same permissions on other departments like sales and research. So we don't want, in the sales department actually is already set. We just have to write the ch mode for Regine to have the read-only access within Joshua's directory. So group, we just use the group permission plus read plus r directory of Joshua. That's on behalf of Regine. So now Regine is able to read on Joshua's directory. So now the next restriction is to allow managers a read-only access in the directories of other departments. So let's say Joshua is the sales manager. Exit. Oh, sorry, that's closed. Connection is closed, so we enter again. So we want to allow Joshua to have a read-only access in the directories of other departments. For now, he should be able to see what's in other directories, what's within other directories. So let's try to home Joyan. So permission is denied. So how we can do that? H mode. We use the other permission plus read on home Joyan, and let's try that again. So now Joshua is able to see what's in the directory of Joyan. But now let's exit. But now Nancy, who is in the research department, is now able to see Joyan's directory, who is in the marketing department. Let's try to do that. ls home Joyan. So these should not be able, because members of department should not be able to do that. They can only allow to read, see, or see within other directories if they are in the same group. So we will imply or employ an ACL here. So we set ACL on, let's try the group permission. Group, we want to disallow marketing department to only read on home area. So let's try Nancy. Also research Chayan. Let's try that. No, actually should be able to do that. So let me just fix on this and then I'll get back on you. So now, hello, I'm back. So I have already set the permissions I wanted according to the policies we've made. So let me show you how it was done. So now let's check on each permission we have set. So managers should be able to read, write, execute in the members directories. For example, in the marketing department, Joyan is the marketing manager. So she should be able to read what's in the directory. We can use this ls command space, let's say on Leias, which is part of the marketing department team. He should be able to read, write, and execute in this directory. So nothing is created in Leia's account yet, so let's try to, for example, sample the text. So list. So now that's nice. Also, let's try for Ariel. ls home Nancy. Now Ariel is able to see what's in Nancy's directory. Also Joshua, ls home Regine. There's nothing there in Regine's directory, so let's just wait for something. Regine knew that text. Sample. So now that's right. That's what we wanted to be done. So how did we do that? So first, to make this permission, we added, let me just clear this. No. Wait. So now, how I did that is, let's list. So here, so since each manager belongs to a specific group, so we wanted the manager to read, write, and execute in the members directory. So how we did that is, we added this permission for each of their team members or department members. So let's say, for example, we did chmod group plus read wx command to, for example, home slash Leia, for example. So that's how I did that. Actually, I had that list of commands here, and here, and here. So So that's how I did that. The next permission was to allow members a read-only access in the manager's directory. So Regine should not be able to execute or write within Joshua's directory. Let's try to touch Regine, the directory first, home dot slash Joshua slash Regine here that text. So that permission is denied because we have disallowed that to for each of the members of a department. So how we do that? How did we do that? We just turn off the write and execute permission on each of the manager's directory. For example, for Joyan, it was turned off. Now it's dash dash instead of WX. Also for Joshua and also for Ariel. How we did that? Just do something like this, or excluding the R. Let me try. chmod G minus WX home. Not just like that, something like that. So now Nancy is not able to create a file within his manager's directory, her manager's directory. Ariel, Nancy is here, that text. So permission denied. The next one is to members should only have a read-only access in other members. Let's say, for example, Leia should not be able to touch or create a file or directory within Cheryl's directory. So touch home Cheryl slash Leia file that text. So permission is denied. Also in this case, this is a specific restriction or permission alteration or access control. So what we did is not use this basic chmod command, but actually we have implied or employed an ACL by doing this here. Let me get back to my commands earlier. Here, so set f ACL -m Leia here. So I explained it earlier, so I think that's understandable already. So the next permission was to allow managers a read-only access in the directories of other departments. So managers should be able to read other departments' directory. So Joshua shall be able to read the files within Joyan's directory. Let's say ls home Joyan. Oh, permission is denied. So the problem was that just I needed to restart the terminal for Joshua's access. Now I am able to access Ariel's directory because I am allowed to do so. So if by chance at any moment there's something wrong with your access, or some commands are not working, or that permission is being denied, maybe although you have you're so sure that you have entered the right commands, the right configurations about the restrictions, sometimes you just need to restart or close the terminal you're using and then open a new terminal, because maybe that was just a need. Sometimes that terminal needs a restart so that the updates in the background could be run in that new terminal. So now the managers are able to have a read-only access in the directories of other departments. So I've tried. Let's see. Let's clear this for a while. So now Joshua is able to see others directories because he is manager. Let's say for example Joyan. That's it. And even to Ariel. Yes, that's working. And even on other members. Let's say for example Cheryl and Nancy. That's also similar access with Ariel as the manager. Let's say for example accessing Joyan's directory, accessing Joshua's directory, accessing Leia's directory, and accessing Regine's directory. So that's kind of working already. Home, Joshua, Ariel, and also Nancy and Regine. So we did a great job there. So now the last restriction policy I have added is that restrict everyone else to access directories of other departments. So Leia should not be able to access anything from the research and sales department, as well as Nancy should not be able to access anything from marketing and sales department, and Regine should not be able to access anything from the marketing and research departments. How do we do that? Let's try to ls home anyone from marketing, Nancy, let's say. Oh, that's research. This is for marketing, Leia. So permission is denied for both. And ls anyone from marketing, Leia, and anyone from sales, Joshua. That's right. That's how we want it to be done. And also on behalf of Leia, let's try to access anyone from the sales, Joshua, and anyone from the research department, Randy. So that's it. That's how restriction is done here in LinuxMint. So we did change the restriction through chmod and ACL. By the way, I made in order to do the third restriction, which is to allow managers to read and only access in the directories of other departments, I added a new group. Actually, I named that group group add. I named that group managers, and I added the managers Joyan, Ariel, and Joshua, and made an ACL so that everyone who belongs to this group is able to access others' directory, because they should be, because they're managers. So this is how I did that here. So these commands is the ACL to allow managers to have a read-only access on others' directories. Some here are just my testing earlier. So this command is actually to remove an ACL for a directory. So how do we check on the permissions or restrictions on a directory? Let's just type get f ACL and the name of the directory, for example Joyan. So we can see here the access restriction or the access permissions being employed in this directory. Let's say user has all access, the read, write, and execute access. The group is able to read. Anyone in the group, which is the marketing group, is able to read. By the way, this is the file name, and this is the user owner and the group owner. So anyone in the managers is able to read this directory. And mask is an ACL filter or permission filter in the ACL. This means that this is the maximum permission allowed for permission set with ACL, and there's no other permission other than these users. There is no permission being allowed. So that's how it's done. The next part would be activation and deactivation of accounts. So let me clear all this for a while. These two. So, for example, Leia and Nancy's job contracts have ended, and so their accounts must be deactivated or locked so that the users can't access them. So this is how activation and deactivation of accounts is implemented. So how do we able to activate or deactivate an account? So with our example, we need to lock or deactivate Leia and Nancy's accounts because, let's say for example, their job contracts have already ended. So let me just check on my notes. So how do we lock an account? So first, of course, let's enter into the root account, and then let's type usermod, entering user mode, and -L. L is for locking account, and let's try to lock Leia and Nancy. So for example, let's exit there. For example, Leia tries to access her account without informing her manager, although her job contracts have ended. So let's try to do that. So Leia 1 2 3. So it says here permission denied. So Leia's account cannot be accessed already because it is locked. Same with Nancy. I hope so. Let's just exit first, and then let's enter. Done. So I think everything's working as we lock an account. So let's say for example, why deactivation and not deletion? Why deactivation is important? Why can't we just delete the accounts for Leia and Nancy? That's because what if Leia renews her contract after 3 months of being inactive and her account is activated again? So that's why it is better to just deactivate an account, especially on those users that might get back for a while. So how do we reopen these accounts? So our example here says that Leia renews her account after 3 months. So to do that, let's just type usermod sorry usermod-u space the name of the user. So let's try to access Leia's account again. So that's it. Now it's working. So simple as that. That's how activation deactivation is done here in LinuxMint. So the next thing would be this is the last part of user management task. The last thing is to how to implement a user expiration date. So let's say, for example, Randy's job contract in the research and development division is only effective in 3 months. So after that, he should not be able to access his account. So unlike locking and unlocking, which you do manually, setting an expiry date will automatically make a user access disabled in a specific period given in that as we set up or configure an expiration date. So when the user attempts to access his account beyond the set expiration date or expiry date, his access permission will be denied by the system. So in order to unlock or reactivate his account, the user must request the access permission to reset or update the expiry date. So how do we set an expiration date for Randy's job, for Randy's account? So to do that, let's just first check if there is any information about expiration of an account for a user. So let's type ch age-l and the name of the user or the username. So last password change April 1, password expires, it never expires. So here are information about expiration of with regards to accessing an account. So account expire, it never expires. So how do we add an expiration to this account? So to do that, let's just type ch-age, that's change age for obviously, and space dash e for expiration and the date on how long or until when this account can be accessible. So let's say it has been due already for Randy. Now let's say his contract for research and development department is already passed last March 30, for example. So this is the format for putting or setting the date. 30. So first enter the year and then the month separated by a dash or a minus symbol and then the day. And then we apply this to Randy's account. So let's log in as Randy. Exit. Randy 123. So it says here your account has expired, please contact your system administrator. So that's how expiration is done. And if we check through this command, we will see information about it, about the expiration period of the sorry, that should not be changed, it's change. Here now we see the information update. So let's say Randy renews his contract for another 3 months. So how do we do that? Let's just remove the expiration date we have set. How to do that? To remove an expiration date, let's just type this without the date, and instead of writing the date, let's put 1. So I think Randy now is able to access his account. Randy 123. Yes, that's it. And we want this account to be open or accessible within 3 months again, as Randy renews his account or his contract. So to do that, let's say after 3 months, we are April 1, May, June. Let's say July 1. So 2025 dash July 7, then 1. Let's check the information about it. L. So this account expires on July 1, 2025. So beyond this date, Randy should not be able to access his account. So I think that's it for my part about the about the user management tasks. So now let us continue with setting up our server as a mail server. So this is the essence of this video actually, to set up LinuxMint as a mail server. So how do we do that? Let me just clear this for a while. So how do we set up LinuxMint as a mail server? Of course, the first thing we do here is actually install the necessary packages or necessary programs that we need to install, that we need in setting up the mail server. First thing we do is actually to update the necessary packages and upgrade the necessary packages we need for this installation. To do that, let's just type apt. apt stands for Advanced Package Tool. It's a synchronizer for the local package index, so that we can make sure that everything in the package or the binaries, the programs within the system is updated and synchronized, as there could be some releases or updates in these programs. So we just do an app update, and also we can apt upgrade after the app update. So earlier we have done this in the installation part. So it takes a lot of time to wait when we run an apt update and apt upgrade. So let's just proceed on the installation proper actually. So as an administrator, you have the power, you have the choice to decide. You have, it's up to you, it's up in your decision if you want to update and upgrade the local package index, but that should be done. That's the suggestion for most of us system administrator. But for the sake of this demo, I would not do that part already. So let's just proceed on installing the necessary mail server components in LinuxMint. First thing is apt space install, and then we first install the postfix component or postfix package. So postfix is a program. It is a program to use so that the mail server is able to send or transfer email to the recipients. So it is a mail transport agent used to route and deliver emails on Unix OS like LinuxMint. So postfix is responsible for handling mails. And of course, the next thing we have to install is the dovecot. I don't know what's the right term, I don't know what's the right pronunciation for this, but you see that there. So dovecot core and dovecot IMAP-D. IMAP-D, IMAP means Internet Message Access Protocol. Dovecot dash IMAP. So Dovecot is responsible also for handling emails, so that, what do you call this? Let me check on my notes. So designed for security basically, and speed and ease of use. So it works alongside with Postfix and other MTAs to handle email retrievals for users. So it handles how emails are being received in our system or in our server. So as a mail server, it should be able to send mails to the recipients and of course handle incoming mails. So that's how it's done. And then we also want to install the MailUtils package. MailUtils. So this provides command line tools for testing, of course. Since we are just installing this server in local setup, so we need to test it later in our terminal with MailUtils package. So space -y just to add this, so that during the installation any prompt that comes along would just be answered yes, so that the installation won't be interrupted. So yeah, MailUtils collection. It's a collection of mail-related utilities for sending, receiving, and managing emails during our testing later. So let's enter in that. So actually we can install this one by one, but I choose to install this together. So let's just press enter and wait for the installation to be done. Now the installation is done. Now let's proceed on do some configuration on each of the packages we have installed. So let's configure Postfix. So sudo no need to sudo dpkg -reconfigure Postfix. So dpkg can reconfigure is a command for Debian package manager for reconfiguration process. So we configure this package, the Postfix. Let's just enter in that, and this opens package configuration, the Postfix configuration view. So please select the mail server configuration type that best meets your needs. So in our case, we just set this as a local. So the only delivered mail is the mail for local users. There is no network. So let's just press OK. And then the mail name is the domain name used to qualify all mail addresses without a domain name. This includes mail to and from root. Please do not make your machine send out mail from unless root has told you to. This name will also be used by other programs. It should be the single fully qualified domain name. That's in our context, let's just continue with our example, the XYZ company, and press OK. So mail for the postmaster. Root and other system accounts need to be redirected to the user account of the actual system administrator. So it needs to be the administrator here. Let's just type the username for the administrator here. So that every email that every email that the system receives will not be redirected, will not be directly sent to the root account, but actually to the administrator account. So that's it. Let's just press OK after that, and just leave this by default. Let's press OK and 4 synchronous updates on all mail queue. Let's just say yes. And local networks, let's leave that as default. Okay, mailbox, that's just 0. Local address extension character, leave the default. And then internet protocols to use, all IPv6 and IPv4. Let's press OK and wait for the reconfiguration to be done. Running new aliases. So now the reconfiguration is already set. The next thing we do is to reconfigure dovecot, of course. Before that, let's restart this postfix program by entering systemctl space restart and postfix. So to ensure that the postfix really works effectively during our testing later. So let's restart that. Sorry. And then after that, let's now proceed in configuring the dovecot. So we have to open the file if we need some reconfiguration or we want to add some configuration settings for dovecot. We just have to go into the file etc dovecot.conf. So if you want something to change in this file, just do so. But as for me, I'll just leave this as default. So also we have to edit another file which is found in atc/dovecot/conf.d/10auth.conf. So it is related to authentication process. This file is related to authentication process, and we want this disable plain text auth to be no. So let's just save that, Control X and press Y and enter. So to check if our configuration was saved, let's just open the file again, and yes, it is. Then Control X for exit. Next thing is to same with postfix, we have to restart dovecot because we have done some reconfiguration on that. So restart dovecot, and let's wait for it for a while, and that's it. So now let's test if our mail server is working. So to do that, I have created some scenarios here with regards to our example, the XYZ company. So the first test is marketing manager sends request of sales report from the sales manager. So marketing manager, that's Joyan, sends request of sales report from the sales manager. So how do we do that? We send an email. To do that, let's type mail space the subject of the mail. For example, sales report request, and then to the recipient of this mail, who is sales manager, that's Joshua. Joshua at XYZ company. let's just enter it. We don't want to CC this to other recipient. Just enter, and then here we type the message. So, hi Josh, I am requesting for the sales report in the last month. To send, let's enter, let's press Control D. Oh, that's the word. Just enter and then Control D. So, how do we know if the email was sent? Let's check on Joshua. Let's type mail to see the mailbox or the email we received from anyone in the local network. So here we see an email, one new message from Joyan Ortega, who is the manager, the marketing manager of the marketing department. So we see here the date of the email being sent and the characters in that email and the subject line. So to open that, let's just enter the number of the email, which is this one, and then press enter. To have a better view, let's so received. Again, let's enter one. Why? Something wrong. So I'll be just closing this terminal. And let me open it here in another terminal. Joshua. Let's increase the size of the window. Let's type mail. Let's type the number of the mail in the list. This is one. So see here, I am requesting for the sales report in the last one. So we see here the mail we have received from Joyan. So it's working. It's working. So let's reply and let's see if we can receive the reply. Reply, enter. Yes, no problem. I'll be sending it in another email. So Control D to send the email, and just type Q to quit the mail view. So let's check here on Joyan's mail if she received anything. So there it is. So let's open the email, but first let's increase the size of the window. Open the email, and yes, no problem, I'll be sending it. So let's reply, thank you, and send that, and quit. So let's see here, unopened. So here comes the unopened email, add a new message. So 2, let's type 2, then we receive thank you. Now that's it. It's working. Now let's go to the next test. R&D director, who is Ariel, sends report to marketing manager to be used for optimization. So now R&D director Ariel, let's log in as Ariel. Ariel Ang. Ariel 123, and clear the window. So there is another way so that we can send a new email. Let's type echo the message within double quotes. Hi Joyan, I am sending reports research reports that would be helpful in optimizing our marketing strategy. So to mail this, let's separate this with the pipe symbol, and then type mail, and then space -s to put the subject, research reports for marketing strategy optimization. And the recipient, let's enter the recipient of the email, who is Joyan. Let's enter the @ symbol at XYZ company, and then let's press enter. So let's check here on Joyan's mailbox. So we see here a new email from Ariel Ang. Let's open that by entering the number of the email, which is 2. So yes, Ariel. Oh, sorry, we have to first type the reply to this email. And yes, Ariel, my pleasure. Thank you. So send that, Control D, and quit. And let's see here on Ariel's view if he received the email reply. So yeah, he received the email reply. So another example, or another testing. Marketing manager sends instructions to marketing team members. So let's say Joyan sends now mail messages or mails to Cheryl and Leia. So how do we do that? So mail space subject marketing strategy. Let's say, for example, strategy optimization instructions. How do we send a how do we send email to multiple recipients? To do that, let's just type the email recipients separated by space. Let's say, for example, let's copy this. We'll use that later. So first to Leia at xyz.com, XYZ company, and then space, and type another email recipient, and enter. Let's leave the CC blank, and the message, hi team, we'll meet later to plan for our marketing strategy. Thank you. And press Ctrl D to send the message. So let's check on Leia's and Cheryl's side. So exit, let's open as Leia. And sorry, Leia 1, 2, 3, and mail. So we see the message here. Yes. So we see if Leia replied yes. Let's enter as Cheryl also to see if she received the email. So let's type password of Cheryl, And then let's go to the mail. Yes, press 1 to open Joyan's message, and then let's reply yes. Got that. This is noted. This is noted. And Control D to send the mail, and then quit on the mailbox. Let's see here if they've received the email. So yeah, that's how it is. So that's how we set up a mail server in LinuxMint, and as we have tested, the mail server is working in our local system or network. So that's just my part, and thank you for listening. The next part would be the resource management, which will be discussed by Joyan Ortega. Thank you.
Hello viewers, hello guys. Let me introduce myself first. I am Joan Ortega, and now in this part, I'll be going to show you the common tasks as a system admin do in monitoring the system performance and management. And also, I'll give some emphasis on some details that are considered to be important to know and understand as you manage the system. But why system performance monitoring is important? First is to keep your system running smoothly. Second, make your system faster and more efficient. And third, it improves security and protect your data. So, one thing guys, there are primarily two ways in using it. First is the terminal. So, let's wait for a little bit. So, there's a terminal here, and second is here in the menu bar, which is, and the second, which is the GUI. So, it's find here in the menu bar. So, let's search lang sa system monitor. So, here it is system monitor. Let's click for it. And let's wait for a little bit. So, here's the GUI for the terminal. So, let's put it here and emphasize it. No. So, there's a command terminal and the GUI. But it depends po na siya sa admin user if ano yung i-use niya or what he preferred for sa dalawa. So in this video I will show you kanang how this works. So but first, let me show you the GUI first. So I emphasize this first. So in here na ay sa tabs, there are process, resources, and file system. So first is na ay mga processes name, which is yung mga use na So here kay ang user, which is the administrator. So na ay CPU, and pwede po siya if clickable po siya if kanang sa kanang less to greatest na mga usage. So, na ID. So, and then memory. And then sa this read, so, like, kung sa itong mga total na read na niya sa mga processes. Tapos na this write total. And na this read. And this write. And, like, ang priority. So, na resources. Next, kay ang resources, which is na CPU. Like, diri mo kita kung unsa ang pag-run sa running usage niya sa atong mga gi-use. And like memory swap, and then like network. So here. So ang kaning sa so na CPU 1, CPU 2, and CPU 3, CPU 4. So it means kay kanitong time na nag-install ta, so like 4 atong i-use. So that's so kaning sa memory swap kay makita ninyo na inline lang siya, kay wala man kayo tayo gi-use na usage. So next is the file system. So ay div SDA3 and 45%. Ang yung available kay 13.4 like that. So as kay dili man kayo siya makita jud ang iyahang mga usage, gamay lang iyahang so sagaran ang gina-use kay ang command terminal jud. So let's exit here na. So right now we will use the LinuxMint terminal command para to check the system load, active process, memory, disk space, and network performance. So ato ni siyang i-emphasize ng terminal or i-full view na to kay para so first mag-display ta og raw estimate of the system load. So ang pag-display ani is to mag-command ta og up time command. So as you can see here, kay mag-show siya how long the system running along with the current time. So magpakita siya dira og mga so here is the current time, how many minutes na so one user, and then the load average. So next kay mag-display ta og current system activities, which is atong ang command kay is top. So mugawas dira ang so kaning top is the most common command that provide a real-time dynamic view of a system process of displaying information such as CPU. So diri makita ang CPU like a total. So 214 total, 1 running, 213 sleeping, and 0 stop and 0 zombie. So there ang CPU, ang process ID here, the user. So each column here kay naani siya usable. So the time command, ang CPU, ang memory, and the rest. So what this is next kay mag-display ta og system status and most active. So ang pag-display aning system kay PS, and then AUX, and then so equals present CPU. So here are the sa CPU. So this is how display. So kana siya. So ang PSAUX kay ang command list are all running process with their memory and CPU usage. So by by sorting, by processing by CPU user, you can identify the most resource hungry processes. So ang first the user, the PID, the CPU percent, the memory, so VSC, RSTY, and start and time command. So siya, and next kay mag-display ta og current overall CPU activity, which is the stats. So this is the command for the display current overall CPU activity. So pwede mo use tag mp stat Next kay mag-display na lang ta og amount of physical memory. So free free dot h. So kani ang this command naga-show na siya og total physical memory, used memory, and available memory. So hindi na ginapakita ang memory and a swap. So kanig sa swap kay dako-dako pa ang iyang ano, so wala ka siya na use. So next kay this same po siya sa pag mag-display po tag memory usage, mag free dot kay slash dash h. So next kay mag-display the amount of disk space used by all files and subdirectors. So ang pag ana kay mag command lang ta og d dash s h. So draw sa siya 93. So let's see the disk usage of the current directory if you want. So so 93. So next kay mag-display tag potential candidates for archival and deletion. So using so d u slash a h.